Welcome to Pierce Mayfield's Change Management webinar, and thank you for signing up and joining me, Richard Rose, and John Edmonds, our Associate Lead Trainer and Consultant in Change Management. As we've seen over the past few years, our world is becoming more and more volatile and complex, and I think we can say that particularly considering the last 12 months. Not only do our organisations have to deliver our products and services within this environment, but they also have to adapt, grow and innovate in order to survive and stay healthy, so that we can provide our clients and customers with what they need, when they need it, as well as responding to our own changing requirements. We see our programs and projects delivering their capabilities, and to be fair, we are getting better at doing this. But for us to benefit from those deliveries, we need to transition the new capabilities into business as usual far, far more effectively. And this is where change management comes in. It's about now I'd like to hand over to John. However, if you have any questions, please enter them on the chat and we will review and answer them at the end. John.
Thank you, Richard. Let's begin with a definition. This definition looks at change management being the process and the tools and the techniques that can be used to help organizations and individuals make successful change. It shows us why dealing with change, and more importantly, the impact of change, is a high priority for many organizations. Now, you might think that sounds like a definition of project management. But we need to think of projects as a way of delivering the enablers for change. The purpose of a project is to create and deliver some outputs, some products. In other words, project management focuses on the tasks to achieve project requirements and therefore delivering the products, whereas change management focuses on the people impacted by the change. Both project management and change management support moving an organization from a current state through a transition to a desired future state. Both are necessary. Change management is not an alternative to project management. It's complementary, but it is different. In fact, change management is very different. It's very challenging. There are no process models or life cycle diagrams that we can follow. Checklists won't work because we're dealing with people. People have feelings, perceptions, desires, influence. And in change situations, there'll be winners and losers. There'll be resistance. All of this makes change management very challenging. So we need help. And this is where the Change Management Practitioner qualification comes in. This certification has been developed by APMG International in partnership with the Change Management Institute, the CMI. They are an independent global professional association of change managers. Together, the two organizations have developed a professional body of knowledge for the discipline of change management. And this body of knowledge now provides a benchmark, an independent benchmark for the professional competency level that we can expect of any effective change manager. This program is fully aligned with that body of knowledge, sampling a wide range of things regarding the theory and practice of change management. The course is for a range of people: leaders, change agents, directors of projects, managers of programs, business change managers, in fact, anyone who needs to develop and hone their skills in change management. Let's take a quick look at the benefits it will bring. Firstly, benefits for the individual. It'll help the individual understand the human side of change and know how to help people deal more effectively with change, maintaining their commitment and bringing them successfully through the change process. The benefits include understanding the various types of change that affect organisations and how to draw on a range of professional approaches to support the effective delivery for the organisation. To know how to identify and work with the stakeholders in the change initiative, and how to plan and execute and measure the effective communications required to build and maintain their engagement. To know how to recognise resistance and to address the problems associated with it. And to understand the process of sustaining change and how to embed a change initiative as the new business as usual. For organisations, it's really all about building the organisation's capability and capacity to deal successfully with change. Many organisations that we deal with just don't seem equipped and ready for what's going to happen. It's about increasing the probability of successful business change or transformation and supporting strategic direction. The benefits include minimising the risks associated with change, such as costs overruns, delays, loss of engagement, reputation risks, all of those associated with failed initiatives. Developing and sustaining employee commitment and alignment with the organisational purpose. Managing more effective change communications with internal and external stakeholders so that the change is understood and we have built support. And benefits for the organisation will also include developing better integrated change planning and successful embedding of change into the life of the organisation. Now, moving on to how the 5-day programme is shaping up. This is aligned with the change management body of knowledge, as we said, and it uses a reference book called the Effective Change Manager's Handbook, an excellent piece of work. The 5-day course programme follows the 4 major areas of the syllabus: how organisations change, how to help individuals through change, engaging stakeholders in communication, and change management in practice. There are 2 examinations included in the programme. A little bit more about those shortly. First, let's take a quick look at some of the things included in the course. We've got various change management models, such as John Kotter's famous 8 steps to leading change. We've got some work on motivation. What works and what doesn't work? Should we use a carrot or a stick? Or perhaps something a little more subtle than that? We look at the relationship between learning and change and how we can help people through the learning process. After all, most change involves us having to learn something new. It includes the communication of change and the importance of getting that right in times of change. And we'll look at some ideas of best practice there. We take a look also at organisational culture and the power that it has and its role in introducing or resisting change. The programme includes looking at some of the key roles in change management. People like change sponsors, change agents, and so on. We'll look at what they're responsible for, and we'll compare the roles to other roles within the disciplines, for example, of project management. Stakeholder engagement forms an important part of the course, and we'll look at some key principles of that, how we can truly engage and mobilise our stakeholders. And as we've already mentioned, resistance to change. What causes it and how might we overcome that resistance? And also we look at the role of teams, how teams can help in change situations, and what makes the team effective or what makes the team dysfunctional. So the course covers these key areas: stakeholder engagement, communication, individual change, organizational change, and it stresses how we need to integrate these for really effective management of change. So just delving a little deeper into one or two things. The organizational change part of the syllabus will look at things like metaphors, how we think our organizations work, and what that means to our understanding of it in a change situation. We look at levels of culture and how we might shape that culture. I mentioned John Kotter earlier on. We're going to look at change models, and John Kotter's are included in there, but we'll look at some others to give a range of perspectives. We'll look at the idea of vision, the change vision, and how that can motivate people. And we'll look at those key roles. The individual change part of the syllabus looks at how you and I respond to change, including the famous change curve, explaining the emotional change journey that we may travel. The idea of transition and how changes take time to be fully realized. Why people are anxious about change and different types of anxiety, and again, how we can respond to that as change agents. Different forms that resistance takes, and how different personality types respond to change in different ways. We're all different. We're not going to follow the same response patterns. And how learning styles and preferences, again, shape our response, and how we can use those in our learning engagements and make them better. In stakeholder engagement and communications, we look at how we might analyze our stakeholders, mapping and segmentation, a number of different techniques there. We'll consider barriers to communication, and then types and styles of good communication. Mobilizing stakeholders, and doing so through actively managing our relationships with stakeholders, a really important part of this section. And then active listening and some facilitation skills are also included here. So this course is rich in different techniques and different ideas, models and concepts. It's a very enjoyable course to be part of, something I always thoroughly enjoy. But then there are 2 exams at the end, slightly less enjoyable here perhaps. There's the foundation exam, testing your basic knowledge of the material. That's a 40-minute exam, 50 questions. That's followed on the final morning by the practitioner exam, a more complex test of your ability to apply the theory to a realistic case study. That's a 2.5-hour exam, and there are 80 individual questions in that exam. Both of the exams require a 50% pass mark to succeed in those exams. Okay, that's a very quick run through of our change management program. I'd like now to hand back to Richard, who's going to say a little bit more about
it. Thanks, John, and thank you all for participating and providing us with a number of interesting questions and suggestions, which we'll pick up in a moment. If you think of any other questions after the webinar, please send them through via the contact information at the end. But before we go, I have an offer that I hope will be difficult for you to refuse. I would like to offer our 5-day change management practitioner course run by John at Ensham Hall in Oxfordshire on the 27th of February 2017. Normally, the price would be £1,545 plus VAT for a non-residential course. Our offer is a price per delegate of $995 plus VAT. And this price includes all materials, exams, venue costs for a non-residential course. However, if you need a residential option, then this is available for £300 plus VAT. The offer is dependent on Pierce Mayfield receiving full payment at the time of booking. It's on a first come, first served basis, and we are looking for a maximum of 2 delegates per organisation. So, if you'd like to take advantage of our offer, please contact us. Just as an aside, we do have a 100% pass rate on our change management course. Okay, so let's take some questions. We have 2 that have come through so far. And Dawn, you've asked, is there an upgrade from the previous change management course? And allied to that, actually, Peter, thank you for your question. Is this a brand new course, as Dawn infers, or is this a refresh of an existing course and qualification? John, I'd like to hand to you, please.
Thanks, Richard. Yes, good questions, that. And the answer is yes and no to all of those, really. It is the same change management qualification. It's recognised as the same, although this course is a total rewrite, it being based on a totally different book. If you came on it, you'd recognise some of the things from the older version of the change management practitioner course. There's a number of things touched on, but there's quite a lot new, and there's a sort of a different feel and shape to it. So I guess where you're going with this is there a refresher course? Is it an upgrade? Probably the best thing to look at that is that when it's time for your re-registration, so if you did that old one over 3 years ago, that's probably about now is a good time to think about that. Then the re-registration would be based on the new book, and so a shorter re-registration course would be available for that one. So I hope that helps with that. Okay, Dawn has come back with that, which I may have just answered with my last comment about how long it lasts. It's 3 to 5 years is the qualification. Remember, once you pass the foundation, that's for life, but the practitioner does need refreshing between a 3 and a 5 year period. That's what's recommended. The examining body for this course is another question that's just being asked. This is APMG. APMG International. They have been involved in things like Prince 2 and MSP for a very long time, and they introduced change management some years back. They're an internationally recognised accreditation body.
Okay, there was one other question which looked quite useful, and this is Robert, who has asked, can project managers fulfil their own role as well as being an effective change manager? I.e., can they do it both as well together?
This is a topic that regularly comes up on courses where we talk about this. Clearly, in some situations, the answer has to be yes, that can happen. But that's asking a lot for the individual to be both delivering and managing change. And in fact, the project manager may not be well placed to be the best change agent within the organisation. We're looking for different experience. We're looking for different skill sets sometimes. Some project managers may be able to do that, but it brings lots and lots of challenges. So we need to consider that.
I think one of the things that we often come up against, John, is that project managers are time dependent. They have to get stuff delivered, just as you mentioned in your presentation. Business change requires a lot more operational knowledge, knowledge of the people. So change managers tend to be more operationally biased than project managers. I say tends to, I'm being generalistic here, but that's, I think, something that we tend to see with our clients. Vanessa, you have asked about, how do we make sure that, having discussed this topic on the difference between project and change managers, how do we sort of put that together for our senior management to understand? If I'm not much mistaken, that's the basis of your question. And I think to a certain extent we possibly answered some of that. But if you would like to get in touch with us, please do. As I say, after this, there will be a telephone number and an info@piercemayfield.com for you to get in touch with us and talk with us further, if you like. Yes, John, take the next one, please.
Okay, so the view on dedicated change managers as opposed to normal job and change manager responsibilities added to their workload. One of the things that we've found through experience in many different organizations is business change managers do need business experience. So we'll need to draw people from those areas rather than bringing in external change managers. But just adding business change to their job on top is not going to do it. There needs to be time carved out for them. There needs to be then a sort of backfilling of some of their responsibilities. And some of the best ways we can look at this is if it's done on a part-time basis. So that maintaining some business responsibility, but also then involved in the change program as a change manager. This means that they've got a foot in both camps, they're maintaining credibility in both camps, and are really best able then to deliver change.
We've probably got time for just one more. Peter, you've asked, is there an equivalent business analysis course? I suppose the answer really is yes, there is now Agile business analysis. It sits very nicely alongside Agile project management and Agile program management. If you'd like to know more about that, then please give us a shout, and we will do what we can to give you as much information as possible. I think at this point we probably ought to draw to a close. We did offer half an hour. It would be lovely to talk to you all longer, but we recognise that you are all very, very busy people. We have all your questions. What we'll do is we will bundle them up, and we will put some answers around them and email you those questions and answers. If you have something urgent, as I say, please get a hold of us via our information, and may I thank you once again for joining us. Thank you, John, and thank you, and have a very, very good day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.